Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We are learning Mishnayos Nedarim, Parak Aleph, Chapter 1, Mishna Gimel, Mishna 3. All right, so we began the Mishnah yesterday. Let's just read from the beginning. As we said before, the way a person makes a neder, a person can link it to a carbon. When he says this is like a carbon, or this is a carbon to me, or my food should be a carbon to you, that's the way of making it forbidden through a neder. Now, the examples of the Mishnah were, until now, he didn't directly say it should be like a carbon, but his words were, it should not be unsanctified food that I will not eat from you. Again, not chulin, not unsanctified food, I will not eat that which is yours. That means he's saying, well, that I'm not going to eat from yours because I consider yours that it is sanctified. Or let's say loy kosher. Let's say he says that loy kosher, not fit, that I will not eat your food. Loy dechay, or if he says not permitted, that I will not eat from you, meaning I will not eat from you because I consider it like not permitted. Okay, these are all ways of indirectly referring to a carbon, as we learned yesterday. Those were the examples we got up to yesterday. The next one is tahar. Now, he's not saying tahar. Again, the word loy should be there. Loy tahar. He's saying not tahar, that I will not eat of yours. That means to say that, and this again, the word tahar is used in relation to a carbon. So saying not tahar, that I will not eat of yours, means to say that it is not. It's considered like a carbon that's not tahar, that I won't eat, and therefore I consider it like that. I won't eat from that. That is considered, as we will say, a good enough linkage to an expression of carbon. V'tamei. Now, in the next example, see all of these examples, he was saying not chulin, not kosher. He's saying the opposite of what would be permissible by a carbon, and therefore implying what's not permissible by a carbon. And now the wording is going to change a little bit. Again, it's all relating, trying to link to a carbon in direct way, but now he used the word v'tamei, which means tamei, that which is yours, I will not eat it because I consider it like tamei, like a carbon that's tamei. Or noiser. Noiser, we know, a carbon that's tamei is forbidden to eat from. Noiser is when there's a certain amount of time that's given to you in order to be able to eat the carbon, and you left over from that carbon past that time, and therefore it's forbidden to eat. So again, if he says noiser, it should be like noiser, that I will not eat from yours, that a noiser, that which I eat from you, means I'm considering it like noiser. That's again, considering it like something sanctified, like a carbon. He's talking about a carbon that is not permissible. That's what he's linking it to. And therefore, it's considered, that's also going to be an expression of linking it to a carbon. Or let's say he says pigel. He says, what I eat of yours is like pigel. What is pigel? Pigel refers to an offering that becomes disqualified because while performing one of its services, such as shchita, for example, the slaughtering of it, the Kohen intended to throw its blood, to burn it, or to eat it after the allotted time or in the wrong place. So he's got this invalidating thought, where his thought is he's going to do it in an invalid way. That now makes the carbon. It invalidates the carbon. It passes the carbon. So again, by calling it pigol, he's linking it to, by saying this food should be like pigol, or this food should be pigol. That would be a way of linking it to a carbon, and therefore the Mishnah says usher. In all these cases, these expressions will make you usher in that food. They will be considered a linkage to a carbon, and therefore your neder is going to be a valid neder. Now the Mishnah is going to continue with more examples of this. Or again, he's saying things that, again, without saying carbon explicitly, it will be considered like doing so or similar to that. So, for instance, ka'imra, he said the food. Let me just make sure I'm going to get the words right here. He says that which you eat of yours is like the lamb. What lamb? The carbon lamb, of course. Okay, so therefore he's linked it to a carbon. Or if he says kadirim, he says that which I eat of yours should be like enclosures. What kind of enclosures? So it presumably refers either to the temple chamber in which the firewood was stored, to the temple chamber in which the sacrificial sheep were kept. Okay? Now, it's very interesting because here in the notes they explain that when you are saying that the food should be like the chambers, what you're basically saying is not like the sacrifice in the chambers, because there are no actual sacrifice in the chambers. Those are the animals that they keep for people to make into sacrifices. The firewood, maybe that firewood is sanctified already, I don't know. But the point here is, I'm reading to you here for they bring up places Yantiv. The chambers of the temple became sacred through a person's declaration, because they were paid for by the half shekel coins that every man had to declare sacred and contribute to the temple each year. So he is linking it not to the animals that are in the chamber, but rather he's linking it to the chamber itself. The chamber itself is something sanctified through your doing because of the shkalim, of the half shekel you have to sanctify and give to the Beis HaMikdash, and therefore you're linking it to something that you make forbidden, and therefore the neder is going to count. Ka'etzim, or let's say you say the food should be like the logs. That again refers to the logs of wood that were arranged on the Mizbeach. Okay, those logs were sanctified. Therefore, and if you link it to that, say this food should be like the logs. That means you're linking it to something sanctified. Ke'ishim, literally translated, means like the fires. This refers to the offerings you put on the fire of the Mizbeach. Kamizbeach, it should be like the altar. Here, interesting again, the way they explain it is you're referring. Again, I mean, I guess we could say it makes sense to say this way, that you're not referring to the Mizbeach itself, but to the offerings on the Mizbeach. By food should be like the Mizbeach means it should be like the offerings on the Mizbeach, like the karbanis. Kahecha, like the sanctuary. Okay, refers to the offerings that were performed inside the sanctuary. Now, let's remember, most offerings were done on the Mizbeach outside in the chutzner, in the courtyard, not in the kodesh, not in the sanctuary itself. But we know that there were sacrifices that were done that way. So, for example, as they bring down here in the notes, the blood of an inner chatas offering, chatas hapnimis, that means an offering that is brought inside, was taken inside the sanctuary, where it was sprinkled toward the curtain, the pareiches, that separated the holy from the holy of holies, and then applied to the inner altar. Okay, there are certain chatayis that's what you did. The blood was sprinkled inside. That's where they're called the inner ones. So if you say that this food should be like the heichal, like the sanctuary, you mean like the sacrifices whose blood was brought into the heichal, into the sanctuary. Or if you say Yerushalayim, you say the food should be like Yerushalayim. You mean to say like the sacrifices that are brought in Yerushalayim. Nadar be'echem mikam b'shamshem mizbeach. Let's say when he made his vow, he linked it to any one of the objects that are used in the Mizbeach. These include the forks, I'm reading it from the notes, these include the forks that were used to turn over the sacrificial meat, the bowls in which the blood of offerings were caught, and the shovels used to scoop up the ash on the altar. If one said, like the forks, is that which I eat of yours, or like the bowls, or like the shovels, he has made a valid neder. He's linking it to something, to an object in the Beis HaMikdash that's been sanctified, and therefore that counts as a valid neder. Okay, so that is all the cases of the Mishnah. And Mishnah concludes, hizker carbon, although there was no mentioning of any kind of carbon, didn't mention the word carbon, harez neder carbon. That's considered like he made a vow by linking it to a carbon. He didn't say carbons explicitly, but he either referred to it indirectly or he referred to things that are sanctified. I mean, that's why I understand that some of these things are not talking about a carbon as much as something that itself is sanctified through your doing, and therefore you can link it to your neder to that. Rabbi Yehuda says, in our Mishnah, the Tanna Kama said that the wording was ki Yerushalayim, like Yerushalayim, which means he's saying that which I eat of yours is like Yerushalayim. He's trying to forbid the other person's food, and he's saying it's like Yerushalayim. That's the wording of the Tanna Kama. Says Rabbi Yehuda, if you say Yerushalayim, that I won't eat of yours, you didn't say like Yerushalayim. You said Yerushalayim, that I won't eat of yours. And they bring that over here, that this is not only talking about the case of Yerushalayim, but all the objects mentioned above, the lamb, the enclosure, the logs, if you say, Yerushalayim, I will not eat of yours. That doesn't work. Why, says Rabbi Yehuda. Why? Because expressing it like that, you're saying Yerushalayim, I won't eat of yours, is really an expression of a shvuah, of an oath. It's like saying, by Yerushalayim, I won't eat of yours. So that's not a neder, and it's not even a kosher shvuah. It's not even going to be an appropriate oath, because the way you make an oath is really by saying, by the life of Hashem, I will do this or not do this. He didn't say that. He said by the existence of Yerushalayim, by the existence or by the life of the animal. Thus, he has made neither a neder nor a shvuah. That's what they bring down here in the notes. But the fact that the Mishnah says, Rabbi Yehuda says, if you say Yerushalayim, it doesn't count for anything. That means that Tanakama, who actually used the word Kirushalayim, doesn't really hold it has to be that way. Rabbi Yehuda is the one who says saying Yerushalayim without like Yerushalayim doesn't count. By saying it's Rabbi Yehuda, Mishnah is telling us it's his individual opinion. But the Tanakama does not agree. So even the Tanakama used the word Kirushalayim, like Yerushalayim, or Ka-imra, like an imra, like a lamb, it doesn't have to be that way. According to him, if we were to say Yerushalayim, that which I eat, that I will not eat of yours, or Yerushalayim, right? Just make sure I'm always getting a little bit confused with the wording. Yerushalayim will not eat that which is yours. Okay? In that situation, the Tanakama says, you're not making a shvuah. It's not an expression of an oath. It's good. That's considered a linkage to Yerushalayim. The same if you say like Yerushalayim, you mean to link it to the sacrifices of Yerushalayim, and therefore it would be an appropriate neder. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi. Ein halacha ki Rabbi.